Welcome to Aksharashala. In this session, we are going to talk about emitter coupled bistable multivibrator. In last video, we have seen various types of bistable multivibrators. Bistable multivibrators are broadly classified into two types: collector coupled bistable multivibrators, and second one is emitter coupled bistable multivibrator. First one, collector coupled bistable multivibrator. Collectors are coupled. Collector of first stage is coupled to the input of second stage, and the collector output of second stage is coupled to the input of first stage. So this multivibrator with this type of configuration are called collector coupled bistable multivibrators. Second one is emitter coupled bistable multivibrator. Means both the emitters are grounded, no? In collector coupled bistable multivibrator, both the emitters are grounded, connected to ground. These are not coupled to each other. But in emitter coupled bistable multivibrator, these two emitters are coupled. Let us see. Operation, construction and applications of Smith trigger circuit in this video. This is the circuit diagram of emitter coupled bistable multivibrator, which is constructed by using NPN transistors. If we see here, both the emitters are connected together and connected to ground through a common emitter resistance RE. Initially, this emitter coupled binary is implemented by using vacuum tubes. Later on, these vacuum tubes are replaced by NPN transistor, and it is designed by Smith. That's why this particular circuit is also called as Smith trigger circuit. So it is popular as Smith trigger circuit only, as it is designed by Smith. Basically, it differs from basic collector coupled binary. So here, if you see collector coupled bistable multivibrator, output of first stage is connected to the input of second stage. So here similarly, output of first stage is coupled to the input of second stage. But output of second stage is not coupled to the base of first stage. Here this is missing. So coupling from the output of second stage to the input of first stage is missing here. Here feedback is obtained now through a common emitter resistance RE. It is also a basic bistable circuit. Here, so already I told that bistable multivibrator circuit has got two stable states. Here two stable states results from positive feedback, which is incorporated into the circuit, and from when the loop gain of the circuit is greater than 1. Here loop gain depends on collector resistance of first stage. So there are several ways to adjust the loop gain. One way of adjusting loop gain is by changing the value of collector resistance of first. This is the collector resistance of first stage. So loop gain mostly depends on the value of RC1. Suppose if RC1 is selected such that loop gain is less than unity, When RC1 is small, regeneration is not possible. Regeneration means positive feedback is not possible. If positive feedback is not possible, two stable states, you won't get two stable states. For this circuit shown here, under quiescent conditions, Q1 is off and Q2 is on. Q2 is on because it gets enough base drive from VCC in this route. Here base is directly coupled to the VCC. That's why transistor Q2 gets enough base drive from VCC. Here base of transistor Q1 is not connected to VCC. It is connected to another voltage source, small v. If you want to make transistor Q1 to conduct, input voltage should be greater than or equivalent to cut-in voltage of transistor Q1 and drop across RE. Then only transistor Q1 comes into conduction. Otherwise, it will be in Q1 will be in off state only. So here transistor base drive, enough base drive from VCC through RC1 and R1, and it is directly connected to base. It gets enough base drive and enters into saturation. Now this is Q1 is off now, so that means it acts as an open circuit. So almost all the circuit will be disconnected from the overall circuit. Only this is our active circuit now. This is our active circuit. So the output voltage, now we are taking output at the collector of second stage. All the circuit is now disconnected, no? As Q1 is off, this part of circuit is disconnected. Now if you apply KVL in the output loop, VCC minus IC2 RC2 equivalent our VC2, which is equivalent to our output voltage. So output voltage is equivalent to VCC minus IC2 RC2. VCC minus, so if you subtract this drop, remaining voltage is our output. So remaining voltage is our output. So when maximum value of output when Q2 is off, no voltage drop across RC2, then output voltage is equivalent to VCC. So maximum value equivalent to VCC, but now Q2 is conducting, no, so maximum drop across RC2. That's why output lies at its lower level, and it is equivalent to VCC minus IC2 RC2. So here output V0 lies at its lower level. When Q2 conducting, now Q2 is conducting, there will be a voltage drop across. So now Q2 is conducting, no, so it gets enough base drive, enough base current from the VCC, and hence collector current flows in this direction. Emitter current equivalent to base current of transistor Q2 and collector current of transistor Q2. So total emitter current of transistor Q2 flows through common emitter resistance and makes a drop across RE. So this is also connected to emitter of transistor Q1. So this voltage drop across common emitter resistance will elevate the emitter of Q1. So emitter of Q1 will be at this voltage drop. Now as the input voltage V is increased from 0, the circuit will not respond until Q1 reaches the cut-in voltage. Suppose if you want to bring this transistor Q1 into conduction state, how much voltage is required? This applied voltage should be greater than greater than VBE, cut-in point. Here cut-in point VBE means VB minus VE. Here VB is equivalent to V gamma 0.7 volts V gamma, and VE is equivalent to drop across RE. So here emitter is at this potential drop across RE. So when input voltage is greater than V gamma minus drop across RE, say drop across RE is V1, capital V1. At least if it is equivalent to V gamma, then only it starts conducting. Until then, so when it is not conducting, output is at its lower level and it is equivalent to VCC minus IC2 RC2. Why? Because this is in off state, no? So this circuit is disconnected. So this is only conducting. So if you apply KVL in output loop, VCC minus IC2 RC2 is equivalent to our output. Up to that, as long as the input voltage V small v is less than V1, output is at its lower value. With Q1 conducting, when Q1 starts conducting, when the applied voltage is greater than the V1, V1 equivalent to cut-in voltage of transistor Q1 plus drop across RE, that is equivalent to V1, which brings the transistor Q1 into conducting state. The amount of input voltage which brings the transistor Q1 into conducting state is called capital V1. This circuit will amplify. So then now the circuit will amplify. Why? Because transistor Q1 also starts conducting, Q2 is already in conducting state. So hence what happens? The gain means change in output voltage by change in input voltage is positive, and the output will rise in response to the rise in input like this. So in this state, both transistors are in conducting state. So in this state, only Q2 conducting, Q1 off. In this state, both transistors are conducting. So the output will rise in response to the rise in input. As input voltage continues to rise, so still if you increase this input voltage, what happens? So then base current increases. If base current increases, collector current is given by beta times 2 base current. So output collector current of first stage also increases. So then when collector current increases, drop across RC1 also increases. Then if you point potential at a point C1, collector of transistor Q1 decreases. Why? Because more drop across RC1 only. If you apply KVL in output loop, potential at C1 is given by VCC minus IC1 RC1. The potential at C1 decreases. Potential at C1 decreases, and this decrease in potential is coupled to the base of the transistor Q2. That means potential at B2 also decreases. Potential at B2 also decreases. Now base current and collector current both will flow through emitter resistance due to conduction of transistor Q1. So large emitter current flows through RE. So drop across RE increases. So now we come to transistor Q2. For the transistor Q2, base potential of transistor Q2 decreases, but emitter potential increases. So now if you calculate VBE of transistor Q2, what happens? VB2 minus VE2. VE2 is more due to conduction of transistor Q1. So here base potential of transistor Q2 will become negative. Then Q2 enters into cutoff region. When it enters into cutoff region, what happens? It acts as a open circuit. Now this entire part will be disconnected from the overall circuit. Now if you calculate output, so no current flows, no. So out now. If you take output at this point, output, so no drop across RC2, so now output equivalent to VCC. Directly output is connected to VCC, so output is now equivalent to VCC. Even if the input is further increased, output stays at this value VCC. The plot of V0 output versus input voltage which is applied at the base of the transistor Q1 is shown like this. For loop gain less than 1. Here loop gain is adjusted by adjusting the value of first stage collector resistance RC1. Here RC1 is decreased for adjusting the loop gain and to make the loop gain less than 1. So this is the case when for loop gain less than 1. Suppose for loop gain is, if we increase loop gain by increasing the value of resistance RC1 again, such a change will have negligible effect on the cut-in point V1 of Q1. Here cut-in point V1 is equivalent to cut-in V gamma 1 of transistor Q1 and emitter voltage of transistor Q1, which brings the transistor Q1 into conducting stage is called V1. However, in the region of amplification, that is when the input voltage is greater than V1, then only transistor Q1 starts conducting, no? So that region is called region of amplification. The amplifier gain equivalent to delta V0 by delta V will increase, and so this slope of the rising portion of the plot is slope of the rising portion. So the slope of the rising portion of the plot will be steeper like this. This increase in slope with increase in loop gain continues until the loop gain of the unity where the circuit has just become regenerative and slope will become 0 like this. And finally, when the loop gain becomes greater than unity, the slope becomes negative, and the plot V0 versus V assumes S curve as shown in figure B. The behavior of the circuit may be described by using this S curve. As V rises from 0 voltage, V0 will remain at its lower level. Which is equivalent to VCC minus IC2 RC2 until V reaches capital V1. This value of input voltage equivalent to V1, the value of input voltage at which transistor Q1 starts conducting, just enters into conduction, is called upper trigger point UTP, and UTP equivalent to V gamma 1 of transistor Q1 plus drop across RE. That value of input voltage brings the transistor Q1 into conduction state, and that value is called upper trigger point. The value of input voltage, so this is the input voltage. At this instant, input voltage is equivalent to V2, where V2 is equivalent to cut-in voltage of transistor Q2 plus common emitter voltage. At this value of input voltage, Q1 enters into cutoff and Q2 enters into saturation. And at this value of input voltage brings the transistor Q2 again into conduction state, and this value is called lower trigger point, V2 voltage. It is represented by V2. So at this value again it starts conducting. This is V1, this is V2. So this is the value of input voltage which brings the transistor Q1 into conduction state. This is the value of input voltage which brings the transistor Q2 into a conduction state again. So the difference between V1 and V2 is the difference between V1 and V2 is called hysteresis. So a vertical line at small v equivalent capital V, which lies between V2 and V1 intersects the S curve at 3 points. A, B, C. The upper and lower points, this is A, this is C. Middle point is B. So the upper and lower points A and C are points of stable equilibrium. So A is at its upper level and C is at its lower level. This is one state, this is another state. So the S curve is a plot of values. The S curve is a plot of values which satisfies Kirchhoff laws and which are consistent with the transistor characteristics. At V equivalent to capital V, where V is difference between V1 and V2. Here capital V represents hysteresis voltage, which is the difference between upper trigger point and lower trigger point, V1 minus V2. This circuit will be at A or at its lower level C, depending on the direction of approach of input voltage towards the hysteresis voltage, capital V. When the applied voltage, when the input voltage is equivalent to hysteresis voltage is equivalent to difference between V1 and V2. So your hysteresis voltage is in the range of V2 and V1. The Smith trigger circuit is one of it at its possible states, and hence it is a bistable circuit. So as long as input voltage is in the range V1 and V2, Smith trigger will get two stable states and acts as a bistable circuit. This is the working and operation of Smith trigger circuit. Smith trigger circuit converts any slowly varying input waveform into square wave. If the input has a large enough excursions to carry the input beyond the limits of the hysteresis range, and this hysteresis voltage VH is given by upper trigger point minus lower trigger point voltage. So this is the response of Smith trigger circuit to an arbitrary waveform. So here I have applied a sinusoidal signal as input and it is converted into square wave. So output you have to collect at this point. Here input is applied at this point. Any queries, please contact aksharshala@gmail.com. Thank you. For further updates, please subscribe to Aksharshala. Thank you.